Well done. Okay, 58:37. So we had 14 minutes of intro, 58 minutes total. I got to write this stuff down. Me and Len have this like software that helps us with the clips, and we have to buy like
Yeah,
credits.
we're stinging it right now because we don't want to. Yeah.
So I have
Anyways,
to, instead of doing the whole 2 hours. Anyway, go ahead.
I'll lead things off, Joey. I'll
Okay.
get things going while you figure out the math. And Joe Biden is done as a candidate. President Joe Biden is still going to be there, I think. So I can't be for certain. Either way, there was. I want to talk about Joe Biden, the candidate, first. We'll talk about him being the candidate first. There was an excellent YouTube video that's live, and it was talking about the shelf life of a head of lettuce. And apparently the shelf life of a head of lettuce is about 10 days. And so they put this, live streamed it, and the expiry date was on June 28th for this head of lettuce. And they were trying to figure out which is going to last longer, Joe Biden's candidacy or this head of lettuce. And surprisingly, the head of lettuce won. Take that for what you will. It's apparently like hundreds of thousands of people were viewing it on the live stream on YouTube. A lot of interest in this. The head of lettuce,
just watching a head of lettuce decompose,
slowly decompose, but still won. Let's be honest. Like, we have to give that thing a gold medal. It's not a participation award. This thing clearly won. It's the champion. So good on that. Anyways, now we have that.
Oh man,
candidate Joe Biden wrote in a letterhead that seems to be kind of suspicious for some people.
Looks like he had it made of fucking staples. Of course it looks suspicious.
With his signature that doesn't seem to be matching his regular signature. And people are questioning now the timing of when the White House officials learned about his leaving or his not continuing to run. They found out at the same time we did. No Joe Biden in sight. And now he's endorsing Kamala Harris as the next candidate for the Democratic Party. So very interesting stuff. What's funny about this, or sad, depending on how you look at this, look, I'm talking like him, look.
Look.
They are in a difficult situation. We have 3 months-ish, maybe a little bit more. I don't know what the heck it is before the election takes place. You're in a difficult position when you're doing
on the bright side, though, Len, they have another month after the election while they're counting votes to continue the campaign. So can make up some lost ground there.
So 4 months we have. What is odd is, remember RFK Jr., say what you want about him, but he was never given a fair shake, never given an opportunity to run. And now they need a candidate that wants to run, and it's there, and he's running as independent. Anyways, Joe, I just want to state one thing, by the way. This is something that's interesting that was posted on Twitter, and I found it to be interesting. Do you know the last time, Joey, that somebody named
1976?
I was not even born. So in all my fucking life, there's been somebody named Biden, Bush, or Clinton on a ticket.
Not on the ticket, in the U.S. election.
Okay,
that is like senator, congressman, whatever. Like, yeah,
that is a long time.
Oh yeah,
right. Like before I was born. Right. Yeah. I've never had in my lifetime where you had somebody not named one of those guys or gals. Anyways, it is funny in a way, but it is scary too. He's the leader of the free world.
Okay, time to go nuclear. Time to go nuclear.
This is Joey's thoughts.
Who here was so retarded over the last 4 years that you were one of these people parading around, not you, royal you, saying that there's no such thing as the deep state? Raise your hand. You're a fucking idiot. Who here was in the same group of people talking about with, piss in your pants, shit in your underwear, and tears rolling down your face that democracy was at stake at January 6th? Raise your hand. You're a fucking idiot. Who here was among the people talking about how Joe Biden was sharp as a tack, top of his game, ready to roll, engaging with Putin 4 years ago up until a week ago? You're a fucking idiot. You guys are so dumb. You're so dumb, okay, that you are carrying water for a party that is clearly worse for the country culturally, clearly worse for the country economically, clearly worse for the country on a global stage, and clearly worse for the country in terms of the future prospects and their continued domination and empire. But you carried water for him, all because what? The other guy had a couple of mean tweets. He cheated on his wife. In the real world, okay, where participation medals aren't handed out, where instead, if you're losing in a diplomatic instance, you have to send your young men into the fucking meat grinder to try and preserve your way of life. You need someone with a little bit of edge. You may not like the way he speaks. You may think he cheats at golf. You may not like his haircut. You may wish he got shot a week ago. But you need that guy right now to preserve your way of life. Period. End of story. Harris is incompetent. She's never been elected to any real position of power. Okay? She didn't get any Democratic support in her run in 2020. Didn't get any support in terms of, do we think this person's a capable candidate in any polling up until a day ago, if those results are even legitimate. God only knows. The polling in that country is completely like off the reservation. Is perhaps most famous now for this 4-minute clip where there's at least 30 or 40 times she said something about being burdened and unburdened in the same. This person is a vacuous moron. And if you think, okay, in your heart of hearts, not just something you have to say at a dinner party to make sure you get invited back, not just something you have to say at your PTA meeting so the other parents don't hate you, not just something you have to say to your neighbor so that they don't, key your car. If you really think in your heart of hearts that this person's better for the country than Trump, you're beyond saving. I said this to my dad last week too, and I'll say it here now. Trump's ticket, okay, the JD Vance ad, a lot of people saying, oh, it doesn't really do anything for him. It's another white guy, as if anyone should fucking care about these people's skin colors. Another white guy, he's a crypto bro, he's a tech guy, he's old money, he's, whatever. The thing that Trump understands, okay, is that there is no pulling this other group back from the depths. You're never going to get back the walrus writers, the lead podcast hosts here in Canada. I don't know what's a good example. Like Kara Swisher's never voting Republican. Rachel Maddow's never voting Republican. Her listeners, her viewers, Kara's listeners and viewers, Olbermann's listeners and viewers, Joe Scarborough and Mika Scarborough, I guess her last name, they're married. You're never getting those people. So to me, this is an Isaiah's job moment for the Republican Party. You are never going to convince those people to vote for you. Fucking forget about them. You don't need them anyways. They're not net producers. They don't add any value. They're pillow screaming, piss in their pants, shit in their underwear types. They can't be relied on when things get difficult. You got to rely on people who understand the mission and are in it with you to win it. And in that story, Isaiah's job, that article from the Atlantic, 1936, I'm pretty sure, go read it if you haven't. It'll take you like 10 minutes, maybe a little longer, depending on how fast you read. The whole point of these like big moments, and this is a big moment. Again, like I don't often say like, oh, this is the most important election ever. But fuck, this one might be, at least in my lifetime over there, Like there's a lot of stuff going on now that wasn't going on even 4 years ago. The whole point is to find people for whom you do not need to water down the mission to garner their support, because those people will never support you when it really comes to crunch time anyways. And I think they get it now. Bitcoiners have understood this for a long time. Don't water down the mission. These guys are starting to get it as well. They're not worried about, oh, we got to bring in people from the left. We got to bring in people from wherever. And you know what? It's working. Okay. Look at the tent the Republican Party had at the RNC. The fucking Teamster guy was on stage, Len. When was the last time you saw a Teamster rep? Never. And so you can say all you want about Trump's incompetent, Trump's bumbling, Trump's this, Trump's that. Trump's fucking winning and you're fucking stupid. You got to get on board with this guy. It's clear that he's starting to bring in people just on the grounds of we're not going to compromise the mission to bring in people who don't like us and won't fight for us. But if you think that you want a party that will fight these battles domestically and internationally, I'm your guy. And guess what? Okay. It looks like it's working. As far as Biden, who is still in the boat, in the camp, that this guy was competent over the last 4 years, like mentally competent, had his faculties? Who is still in that boat? These people can be discounted as stupid. Okay. Get rid of them. We don't need them. Who is still in the boat that the Democratic Party is the party of the people, the party of the working class, the party of the needy? Who is still in that boat? Discount them. We don't need them either. Right. To me, the most disappointing thing about the coverage of this and the response, to Biden dropping out, having a bad debate, all this stuff, is that there's so many people, Len, who still with a smile on their face and elephant or whatever their party symbol is, 2024 on their t-shirt, who can't squat 225 pounds, no fucking chance, saying that no matter what happens to Biden, they will literally vote for his corpse before they vote for Trump. It's not the Republican base who's the problem. It's that person who's the problem. It's that person who's become too tribal. It's that person who's become extreme. The other side is not extreme. I said this before on the show, and I'll say it again. You can only call somebody extreme right if there's not some huge number of people, relative to the total number of voters, total number of participants, total number of whatever, who support them. And Trump is no longer extreme on anything. It's the other party that's fallen to the extreme. And like I said, there are things about Trump you may not like. God knows there's things about that guy I don't like. But the idea that you could with a straight face tell me that you think the other party is better in the current moment, it's just objectively wrong. It's objectively wrong. There are hard decisions to be made that one party seems unwilling to make. And it's not like I have to, read minds to figure this out. How many times we talk on the show about how much money the Biden administration printed? How many times?
They all have done. I'm not going to just say
he printed more than any other government ever after COVID, with the stock market at all-time highs and unemployment at lows. What did it get him? Fuck all. Tons of inflation, tons of problems with housing, tons of problems with immigration, tons of problems in his own party, and a less than honorable discharge at the hands of Nancy Pelosi, who is, I think, older than he is. Thanks for your service.
She is. She's in her late 80s.
Thanks for your service. Thanks for your service, Joe.
You're missing the acceleration, though, Joey.
It's not.
We've lost
I don't care.
Way.
Yeah.
And we got it. We got to continue on with the acceleration, right?
I just don't. It drives me nuts that people are like so blinded by their party allegiances. And it's easy for us to say maybe because we're Canadian, but
no. Have you been watching Normie News?
Not really. I don't know. Like, what have you been watching? I watched a bit of the convention, but that was about it.
Yeah, I've watched yesterday when the announcement came out that Biden is not going to be moving forward with his candidacy. So, and I punched it on CNN, and I forget what other channel too. Either way, the talk over on some of those channels was that he is a transition candidate, that he was there. That was why he was there initially elected. So the justification is he wasn't going to be there for the long term, and now it's time to pass over the torch to somebody else who could carry it for the next 2 terms, and then beyond that, we'll see. Well, TDS, right? That's what they have.
God, I know. It's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing.
The AI Biden stuff.
The call. So he calls into
camp. Are we going to play it?
Yeah, fuck it. Why not? I mean, it's like 4 minutes. I'm not going to play it. I got to find it.
You played it for me before. Is it
just
handy?
You want me to play it from my phone? Yeah, I'll play it from my phone.
I don't care. Just for like a few seconds. Like, I don't know. It's just make it.
I mean, we should.
Is this real?
Yeah, we'll preface this with, people have not seen this guy since he put out this Staples letterhead resignation, letter. Is it a resignation letter? He's not really resigning. He's just saying he can't run again, but he's going to keep the White House. I mean, you make what you want of that. But this is a clip of him.
That he made this decision because of health
something
reasons.
medical happened. Yeah. So this is Biden allegedly calling into a Harris campaign event, 2 hours ago. You make of this what you will. I don't know what to make of this, but I'll play it for you guys now.
Listen into President Biden calling into this campaign event.
Keep me out of people's hair for the next 3 or 4 days, but I'm going to be on the road. I'm not going anywhere. It's kept me away a little bit, but I want people to remember that what we have done has been incredible, and we get so much more we're going to get done. And so I want to say hello to Kamala. She can hear me. I know she's going to be speaking shortly, and I want to say to the team, embrace her. She's the best.
It's kind of like he's in a CB radio.
Everybody,
right?
etc. I know yesterday's news is surprising.
Does it not sound like a recording? Like he's talking through the applause.
Yeah, it sounds like a CB radio. Like if he's like, yeah, this is Sleepy Joe here. I'm just calling from the basement. I got some horse pills. I'm gonna be back in the office next week. If anybody sees Miss Montel, tell her I said hello. Over.
Sugar service, we're going to come on a Paxlovid for the president. Over 46 is the probably over.
It sounds like they could have done a better job with the audio.
Oh my god, AIGO Bowden, AIGO
HPC. So like how this is there a future for? Absolutely. If the DNC is using
candidates. Oh fuck, I don't know, lad. Listen, I continue to be just like hypnotized by the U.S. political, event calendar. It's been incredible. This guy, and Zero Hedge tweeted this out today too. He's like, everyone knows where this guy is. He's at his beach house in Rehoboth in DC. There's no one in front of the house. Like CNN, no camera there. NBC, no camera there. Fox, no camera. PBS, no camera. Like, where is the camera on the house?
It's some guy with a GoPro.
Do you remember CNN? Do you remember CNN? I think it was CNN. It might have been MSNBC. They didn't see Melania Trump for like 2 days one time after this like Stormy Daniels thing surfaced. They had a tracker, like the COVID cases and death thing for like days since Melania Trump has been seen, like a fucking OSHA safety board, days since the last sighting. She's not fucking Bigfoot. She's the first lady. Like, like you guys are really tracking her. And now you got this guy who's, I guess alive. I don't know. I said to you before the show, and I was saying to our buddy Scribe and SB before, I would have said like 10% chance. If you'd asked me 3 hours ago, is this guy dead? Like, no, he's not dead. 10% chance, whatever. Now, I don't know. Like, am I 40%, 50%? Like the phone call? And then there's this other story that he was like rushed to the hospital in Las Vegas. Did you see this?
That's an odd one. Like, how did? No, it was a Las Vegas journalist. Someone is it Charlie Kirk or whatever had a source. I mean, look, I don't Las Vegas Tribune or whatever. Fuck it.
Yeah, I don't like listen to or follow a lot of these sort of, like tweet bait right wing influencer types. Like, but like, where's the rebuttal? We just got finished saying that this guy was as sharp as he's ever been, and now you can't get him out of the house. You can't put a fucking camera down there. Where's Dr. Jill? She's a doctor, isn't she? Can't she? What did she make the diagnosis?
The wrong type of doctor.
Oh, man. She's not a real doctor. Okay,
no, come on, man.
Oh,
no, she's a PhD in what? Did you say education?
Education.
Is that
yeah.
what? So, whatever. The markets, if something does happen to him, it's officially announced and we get word, the markets are going to fucking tank as a result. There has to be a drawdown in all the markets, and then maybe it will pick up quite a bit afterwards. But initially, there's going to be a reaction. Might be a good opportunity, not financial advice, to buy. Do your own research. I don't want to tell you to do this.
What do you think happens next in this Biden thing? You're always just reading the stories and setting me up to say something stupid. What do you think happens next?
I'm debating if he's still around. So
really?
I can't say for sure. I don't have enough evidence to show he is. You're hearing all these stories, and as I mentioned at the top of this story, we had the letterhead the signature. Now he's just not being seen. I mean, he has COVID, right? Granted, he's older, but
How many
can't they
boosters does this guy have? He's got 1,000 boosters, like Paxlovid. He's got it. They're giving it to him like Pez. Like, what are we talking about? You can't.
But can't he be like in a mask on a window and waving? Just
whatever. Exactly. I'm with you on that. Like, God, how's this possible?
So that's what I'm wondering. There's a lot. There's so much that's going on here. I just don't know. And to be honest, by the time this airs, the audio side tomorrow morning, probably will know for sure exactly what's going on. So we might look like absolute idiots.
I never look like an idiot. I never. Look
Sometimes
like an idiot.
I do. That happens. So
my dad tells me that I use inappropriate language on this show, and it makes me look dumb. But I just get I'm heated because I'm just so sick of being right and pretending I'm not. You know? Don't you ever feel like that?
At this point, I really don't care.
Yeah.
Honestly, I the only thing that matters is how many sats do I have. That's it. Do I have more? Yeah, I'm happy. The rest, I don't give a shit. You know,
I don't know.
Everybody's healthy in my family. Great. Let's keep.
What else you want? Yeah. What else you want to talk about?
Well, Biden was talking about and doing a cap on rent, 5% nationwide. You hear about this one?
Yeah.
So rent control measures, like anything with price control, it seems to be.
It's their favorite thing. They want to control everything except how much money they just hand out to, so illegal immigrants or whatever. I tried
to look into this. Like, think about this: the president of the United States or the candidate that was trying to become president of the United States had an idea saying, "Okay, we're gonna do price control for rent, 5% nationally." I'm thinking, how the fuck could you do this? How could the federal government of the United States impose this type of measure across all the states? Apparently, there's a reason they could do it. There's a potential way they could do it because it's going to be capped for landlords who have 50 units or more. So we're talking about buildings, right? And they say that if corporate landlords increase tenants' rents above 5%, then they would lose the ability to write off depreciation values, which is very important. So that's how it's done. The IRS is not going to allow them to write that stuff off. So that is how they're able to do it. I was figuring out how the fuck. Well, that's it. And it makes sense. Is it going to go through? I don't know. I'm probably going to say no. And I kind of hope it doesn't because in the end, I understand rent is going up. People are struggling to pay their rent. But there's somebody on the other side that's collecting the rent that has to pay for all the bills. Mortgage, granted in the United States, mortgages are for 30 years, but that guy or gal still has to pay for the mortgage as well. Maintenance hasn't gone up. So when you have to replace something, it's not the same price that it was 10 years ago. We're talking 2024. Everything has gone up. So there's a reason why rent has gone up. Granted, there may be some gouging. I'm going to say maybe not, but man, oh man, price controls, this does not lead to the result that they want to have. I hope this doesn't go through.
Where do you get the 5% number?
That's a really good question. I don't know. What do you think?
A poll. You got it from a poll. He let people who need rent controls decide what the rent control should be capped at. That's a recipe.
Why didn't they say like 1%? Like
because they want it to happen. Everyone is kind of like massaging into this like zone where it's possible that they get what they're looking for, and then that's the 5% number. It's crazy. It's crazy that we are in this situation where Biden, like, talk about a bomb on the way out the door. Like, here we go. We're going to start. We'll instigate a war with Russia. We'll cap rents. We'll print, $1 trillion every 100 days or whatever. Make it so the debt service is higher than the defense spending. Talk about it. That's what a way to make an exit. That's not an Irish exit. I'll tell you that. Everyone knows what this guy's been doing on the way out. It's not great. It's not great. I love it. I love it.
I'm not going to talk too much about this, but Philadelphia, there was an fucked up story. His mother was pushing her child in a stroller.
Yeah,
some dude. Did you see that? Like,
I saw the video. It's insane.
What the fuck is going on, man?
It's insane. That guy will be out. That guy will be out in a second, right? He'll be out. I think was it a woman? It might have been a woman actually. Because I heard the voice. The guy kills. I think he kills the kid, or she kills.
No,
the kid.
He shot in the leg.
The leg.
So the kid was in stable condition. So
and the lady's like, my baby, and the other woman with the gun yells out, "Fuck your baby!" Like, okay, nice, Philadelphia, cool.
This is what that's the city of brotherly love. That's the
It
slogan.
was. It was. Yeah.
No longer. All those zombies. You see, like the people over there hopped up. I don't know what drug it is, but either way, they're just walking around like it's the Walking Dead. Fuck, what a disaster it is. And
It's everywhere, man. Did you see the clip of I don't know if you want to go to notable north, but the geez, I think it was Brampton or Oakville police chief talking about car thefts.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about that. So
Sure. Do you have the clip? Do you have the clip?
No, I don't.
I gotta find it.
Pure clown world. So this is the chair of the Peel Police Services Board. And this is Nando Ianica. And he was on camera talking about crime and how some folks are taking it to the next level. And he was talking about some people who came to court because they were caught for stealing a car. I don't know the details about it, but apparently the judge let them go. So either way, as soon as these folks were let out of the courthouse, what did they do? They were noticed that they were trying to steal a car out of the courthouse parking lot. So no more than 5 minutes after being released and saying, okay, this case will be thrown out. These people were doing the exact same thing. They were charged and brought into court in the first place. It seems like it's a California level story. There he is.
Let's have a listen to our buddy here. This is nuts.
You know, it sounds like a joke. We've talked about the problems with the car thefts. What actually happened here in our GTA jurisdiction? Some guy's up before a judge for having stolen a car, gets let off and went into the parking lot of the courthouse and stole another car. You can't make this stuff up. And that's what gets people frustrated. But can you imagine what it does to our enforcement people that say, here we are doing what it takes, the countless hours, efforts, energy, risk, and then we find out it's a bit of a catch and release system. I must tell you, because you asked the question, I'm glad, it is top of mind concern for my council and our mayors that everybody involved from the federal government on down needs to have a cold, hard look at what it is when we allow people who are the perpetrators of crime to freely go out and the record shows commit more crime while they're waiting for a hearing date. Something's got to give there. And my heart goes out to the victims and to the people in uniform that say, they must want to beat their heads against the wall when they get home some nights and say, what is the point of this if I know these people are back out on the street? So thank you very much for your question. I know it is being reviewed in earnest, but we need stronger results on that file, especially from our federal partners. Thank you.
Couldn't agree more.
What could you say?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I think. I think that at some point we have to admit that the catch and release thing doesn't work, that rehabilitation is not an option for some people because their character just simply will not allow it. And this goes doubly for the decriminalization of drug use, which I think is also being floated by the current coalition government. So, you know, I've done some work in these communities for, I don't know, more than a decade now, a while. I think I started with Wayside when I was like I wasn't even 25. Maybe I was 25. I don't know. I forget now, but more in the community or more than a decade. And, you know, there are some people who really seek rehabilitation, do well with support, and come out the other side a better person. There are some who simply don't have that chip in their character. And at some point, Canada's got to look itself in the mirror and say, what are we doing to protect the people who want to build something in this country if we are letting people who seem to be beyond rehabilitation back into society over and over and over again to commit more crime? And like a car theft is a sort of a low level crime. Broadly speaking, there's not a lot of harm caused by that. Harm, you know, but you know, murder is a different story. Drug sales, weapon sales.
Those car thefts, though, Joey, sometimes they break in people's homes in the middle of the night, and it terrorizes them.
I'm with you.
The people there. So
I'm with you. Yeah, no, you're right. It's a good point. Maybe I was too soft on that, but in my view, there's a shortcoming here, and it's not just here; it's in the U.S. as well. Again, not to go back to this one party or the other, one political ideology or the other, but one side of the spectrum, one side of the continuum is against this sort of thing. One side is for it. there was a time when some of my liberal friends would make the case, well, we can't put everybody in jail. It would be too much money. It's cheaper to rehabilitate. I'm not fucking sure about that now. If the cost of society is greater to keep having this happen. Communities where this happens, there's a city in Baltimore, a neighborhood in Baltimore where I believe there's an app. I got to look into this story. There's an app where it tells you how many gunshots were recorded in a certain neighborhood over the course of about a year. It was as many shots as there were residents.
Oh man.
So the cities, the feedback loop there, in a sane society would be to add policing, double down on enforcement, triple down on punishment, and make sure these people are put away. The solution they came up with instead, though, was maybe it's Birmingham. It was actually Birmingham, Alabama. Now that I think about it, I got to look back into that. But the reaction from the community land, from the politicians there, was actually to restrict vehicle traffic so that people couldn't just drive by and fire indiscriminately out of their cars. Smart, right? Yeah. This is the kind of thing.
That's outside the box thinking. I like that.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing you're up against if you're a thinking person. You have communities where this stuff is rampant. It's getting out into the sort of broader, well-meaning community. Great example. A friend of mine who I won't name, in a city very near here, toward Toronto, was at swimming lessons with his 2 young kids, both under 5. And while he was inside with swimming lessons with his kids, the cohort that was coming out, who swam before them, one of the women leaving was confronted with a weapon and carjacked in the parking lot of a community center. What's the feedback loop there? Do you think that guy gets picked off, goes to jail? And people say, oh, police don't do anything. Why the fuck do you think they don't want to do stuff anymore? Because they're the ones who are putting themselves in harm's way, as Nando said. They're the ones who are, going out, leaving their families every day and getting involved in dangerous situations for what they think is the benefit of the community, only to have some activist judge who's never been in a dangerous situation, who's basically a bureaucrat, tell them that, or tell the criminal that, they need to be rehabilitated and have to go free until your hearing. We trust you won't do anything again. Good luck. If this stuff was happening in the communities where these judges lived, this has never happened. And we know this to be the case because oftentimes, as we talked about, dozens, if not, hundreds of times over the last 4 years on this show, almost every major protest, demonstration, violent incident, mob rule, whatever, ends when it gets to the politician's neighborhood because they put a stop to it. They don't want to see it. So, at some point, then something's got to give. Like he said, I totally agree with that. I don't want people to be vigilantes or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, but it's hard to really find fault in that way of thinking. You spend your whole life building something. You build a community you're proud of, a neighborhood you enjoy, a family you want to protect and nurture, and you get low-life criminals rolling around, stealing cars, making noise, causing problems. What should you do? Should you put up with it? I don't know.
Drive a beater.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's the thing, right? The reaction is always on you to execute, right?
Yeah,
it's never on the person who's causing the crime. It's effective. It's effective till it's not, right? It's effective till it's not.
Make sure it has that third pedal too, because less people know how to drive stick. So if it's a beater with that's stick, you got a good chance. You can leave the key in it. And nobody's gonna fucking steal that guy.
Yeah,
you're good to go. Bank of Canada.
Yeah,
they have
they're gonna cut.
July 24th. By the time this airs,
they're gonna cut. Yeah,
because CPI was 2.7 in the month of June, went down from 2.9% from the month of May. So at least in that respect, is trending in the right direction. So yeah, you're saying it's going to be a cut, right? 25 basis points, I'm guessing, is your
50.
Wow, that's significant. I have no fucking clue. Whatever happens. I'm just an innocent bystander and all.
They're doing 50. The data is only narrative forming. It's I know you don't like when I use this word. It's fake. There's too many mortgages coming due this year and next year. It's going to be a real kick in the teeth to go from 1% or 1.25 or 1.5 to 5. And they got to get that rate down to something like 3, which still won't help that much. I think every quarter point is $50 on every 100,000 in mortgage, something of that nature. I forget exactly what the number is. So it won't help a lot of people a lot. But when everything else is going up in price, you really need that that support. Not to mention that property assessments will start up again probably end of this year. So I think they've been frozen most places. I know here in Ontario they've been frozen since 2019. So your house is being taxed at the same value it was 5 years ago. Almost no houses are the same value as they were 5 years ago.
I have a
So,
friend that built a home in the past few years, and
Yeah.
he had MPAC come by to do an assessment. An incredible amount that he's
Yeah.
paying
Yeah.
in property tax.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'll do one last story.
Sure.
For Jay, this is that segment, by the way. It's
Okay.
we've rebranded it to something
Yeah,
else.
it's rebranded, friendly now, family friendly now, advertiser friendly.
So CTV story.
I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. The advertisers have never given us any creative direction.
No.
This is more family friendly. Yeah.
Our own discretion. CTV story came out about a new homeowner named Vanessa Hartman. And
this story is terrible.
it is. So Miss Hartman, she's facing foreclosure on her home because of a series of unfortunate events. 2 years ago, she bought a home in Jasper, Ontario. I think I got that correct. And the house, when she bought it, was at a time when the market was absolutely hot and there was lots of bidders. And in fact, she paid $200,000 over asking. 7 months later, after purchasing the home, her high-paying job at Microsoft was lost. I don't know the nature of it, the story behind it, if they were downsizing, or I have no idea. Either way, she no longer has that job. Also, compounding the problem, interest rates went up. You could fill in the blanks here, right? What's going on? She couldn't sell her house, defaulted on payments, and what resulted? Well, she's facing bankruptcy, and she just basically handed over the keys to the bank. It's a very sad story. And on top of that, she has no lawyer. She has no legal representation to represent her for her bankruptcy filing. So she is up the creek without a paddle, and she's getting no help from anyone. So This is, just want to say, this is a very sad story, but this is a result of the economy obviously not doing all that well. Prices of everything, including mortgages, going up substantially, and she's not able to make ends meet as a result. So very, very sad story. This could happen to a lot of people out there. So watch out.
Other side of the coin, the messaging has been that our GDP is extremely strong. We're on track for the most growth in the G7. We are benefiting from strong policy decisions that have brought inflation down. It's resulting in rate cuts. What actually causes rate cuts is economic weakness. And what actually causes cuts at the speed of 50 basis points a meeting is the fear that if you wait longer, you get a prolonged recession, a hard landing, as they used to call it. And I think that we're there now. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Stories like this are kind of shitty because the lady seems to be quite competent and just found herself in, a world of hurt. And I see on Reddit people saying, "Oh, she took on more than she can afford." Not really. Would people say that about you if you lost your job? I hope they wouldn't, because everything is more than you can afford if you don't have a job, and you kind of rely on some stability in your life. And actually, one of the guests we have coming on is going to be talking in depth about Canada's lack of family formation and low birth rate over the next few weeks. And I think one of the points he's going to make, and one of the things we talked about when we were talking about him coming on, was almost exactly this: that people are stretched to the edge, basically just living on what was, I think, considered like standard expectations for life 10 years ago. A house, a dog, a kid, a husband, whatever, a job, a car, nothing fancy, right? But when things get sour and when inflation runs rampant and when there's no consistency in policy expectations, you get problems like this. And Len, I bet you that story is a lot more common. I'm not sure how they found this particular woman, but I bet you there's a lot of people who are going through or close to going through something like this. I wish her the best. I wish all these people the best. And I think that overall, all you can do to prepare yourself is to really underspend every time you can, and not, become a widget enjoyer just because things are easy, because they're not guaranteed to be easy all the time. Strap in when things are easy so that when things get hard, you have a little bit of cushion. That's the most important thing.
That's it, Joey.
That's it.
That's it for the show.
Good night and God bless. See you tomorrow. Professor Michael Geist coming on. Looking forward to that. Yeah. Until then, take care of yourselves.
And don't be a cock.